Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades. Gas masks and hand grenades.
What is happening, everybody? It is Gas Masks and Hand Grenades. I am your host, Jeff. Hey, today, my guest is seriously, and I toyed with the idea of how I wanted to do this, but this guy is sort of the flesh equivalent of the Swiss Army knife. He's of hard rock, guitarist, songwriters. He's played live in bands and or written and recorded albums with a plethora of artists, including Alice Cooper, Thin Lizzy, Black Star Riders, Sammy Hagar, Faith Hill, John Waite, Santana, and Stevie Nicks. And this one, which I got to ask about when he comes on here, is Damn Yankees. That one was totally new to me. So he currently plays with Lynyrd Skynyrd, is probably most notable for fronting the band Brother Cane from 1990 to 1998. They've done a few occasional sporadic shows in the interim. However, the main reason he is here today on Gas Mask is to talk about the 30th anniversary tour, some new tunes, and what the future holds for Brother Cane. Please welcome Damon Johnson. What's up, man?
Jeff, we're shaking, buddy. Good to talk to you.
Good to see you. Good to see you. I know you're very busy today, so we'll get right to it. We just established you're in Nashville, right?
Yeah. We've lived in Nashville for 10 years now. Yeah.
How do you like that versus being? You were in Birmingham before, right? You're an Alabama boy, right?
Yeah, man. I love Birmingham. I love Alabama. Nashville's just been super productive for my family. Great schools for my kids. It's been productive for my work life.
Sure.
Great, talented musicians, producers, studios. Everything you need is here. There was a little of that in Birmingham, but certainly not at the scale that there is here.
Yeah, my daughter went to MTSU over in Murfreesboro. So she's actually in Asheville right now, North Carolina, and she's moving back to Nashville in December. So, and she's a budding artist. She does other stuff, but she's kind of an acoustic, sort of a, I don't know, I guess you call her kind of a Stevie Nicks. She's very hippie, trippy hippie, sort of like Stevie is. So very, very cool. But I love that, man.
Well, tell her I said good luck, man. It's a tough It's a tough business.
It is. Yeah. She doesn't have aspirations of being a rock star. She just wants to get her music out, and she's done a lot of open mic night stuff in Asheville, and actually had some open folk things that she's done. So she's writing like crazy, and we just bought her a Taylor, and it's all kind of good stuff happening there. But let's get into you, man. So here's the deal. I came into Brother Cane. I hope you appreciate this story, and I have to clean it up and be a little PG here. So in the early 90s, I am in my mid to late 20s, going to college kind of late. I took some time off and went to school after kind of sowing my wild oats a little bit. And I'm living with my best friend from high school and his cousin. And we have like the party house, right? And so where there's always parties every weekend. And one day I come home and there's all these people in the place. And I'm like, what's going on tonight? And he's like, dude. And he's cranking And Fools Shine On. And I'm like, man, dude, who is this band? Because I hadn't heard the song yet. And I mean, we're talking cranking this thing at ear bleeding level, right? I'm surprised the cops didn't show up that night. And that was kind of my introduction to you guys. But the funny part of the story is that I'm outside smoking a cigarette. This is back when I used to smoke. And I hear all these people making all kind of noise in the living room, and I go in, and there's my buddy shooting bows. He had his compound bow out, and he's shooting arrows down the hallway. And we had a poster there of, this is where I got to clean it up. It was of a young lady, let's just put it that way. And he's taking shots at this poster, and the arrows are going through the wall into the wall behind it, which was the closet, which actually went into the apartment next door to us. So I don't know. Is that an indictment on us or Brother Cane? I don't know. But
I think Well, first of all, you have some very masochistic friends. Let's make that clear right out of the gate.
Yes.
Secondly, yeah, man, 95, that was a big year for the band because it was our second album. And, you know, we were trying to kind of make the transition. We were just trying to stay alive, man, because Brother Kane's always been a straight ahead rock and roll band. No frills, no image. We just wanted to write good songs and try and find our audience. And we did that to some degree, but it was a wild time, you know, alternative music. You know, Nirvana had kind of, thankfully, cleared the landscape of a bunch of shitty music. And there were some amazing bands putting out records in 94 and 95. And so, yeah, we just wanted to do our best, man, to keep working hard and hopefully continue to exist inside that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
you were kind of fighting to be heard during the grunge explosion. You had Nirvana, you had Soundgarden, you had Pearl Jam, all those bands, and you guys didn't sound anything like them. You guys, you know, you were kind of a throwback to like heavier, kind of a good mix of like Led Zeppelin and a little bit of Skynyrd in there, a little bit of you know, Thin Lizzy, all these bands that you ended up actually playing in, which is kind of got to be truly mind blowing to you as you kind of progress through your career. But let's I got a few questions on that, but let's kind of hone in on why you're here. You are actually playing locally to me in Lynyrd, Pennsylvania at Mickey's Black Box on Saturday night, and I'm planning to be there. So me and two of my buddies are coming out to see the show. And tell me a little bit about Brother Kane is back. Now, it's not like you guys went fully away, but you kind of did go away for the most part.
no, we went away, bro. We went away. You know, none of that stuff we've done. The band broke up in late 99, early 2000, somewhere right in there. And, you know, man, I've always been so grateful for the experience of those 3 albums working with Virgin Records, all the guys in the original band. We learned a lot. We saw a lot. We had a lot of fun. We made a lot of mistakes, but you know, the good stuff far outweighed the tough stuff. So, but I had just gotten recently divorced. I'd started another relationship. I was trying to stabilize my children. I have 3 kids from my first marriage. I was just focused on them at that moment, trying to kind of get things stable, and was very content to not do Brother Kane anymore and just keep writing songs and just, I don't know, man. I didn't have a plan other than being with my family. And
What did you do in the interim there? I mean, what was before the Lizzy thing came along, before Skynyrd? What was kind of happening in that mid period? I know you wrote some songs. Were you out on tour? I know you did John Waite. You did a stint with him. What was kind of happening for you in that interim period where the dream of being a rock star kind of started to revert back to, hey, I'm just a regular dude here, and not that you're a guy that seems super level. You know what I mean? You don't seem to be that guy that's not to name names, but you know who those guys are, right?
well,
And
I appreciate that, Jeff. I mean, look, my dream was never to be a rock star. My dream was to be a songwriter, singer, guitar player, and have some success enough that I could keep doing it.
right.
And do it with my friends in my band. And we gave it a good shot, man. A lot of changes at the record company, a lot of changes at rock radio.
Sure.
A lot of distractions, man. Everybody was in really poor shape physically, mentally. So we made a good decision, man, to just stop. And so for that next couple of years, I started playing with John Waite. That was in the late summer of 2001. But you know, man, I kept doing a few gigs. I had some friends. I would play for fun on the weekends. There was the odd Brother Kane date here or there, and
Right.
me and Scott and Roman would just go out as a trio and play those shows. But man, you know, it was just a way to make a few bucks and get paid, and it was time to move on.
Keep your toe in the water, right?
Yeah, time to move on, man. So
Right.
I bought some recording gear. I opened a little studio in my house. I started recording some other bands, and that was a ton of fun, and I learned a lot. And then I got the Alice Cooper phone call in 2004, and what I didn't realize at the time was that was the beginning of, you know, about 15 years of being an Alice Cooper or Thin Lizzy or Black Star Riders, from which I did those three things from '04 until 2018.
Yeah, I saw you in 18 when you guys opened for Priest.
Cool, man. Yeah.
BSR and I think Saxon was on that tour, I believe.
Yeah, that was a great tour. That was a
Yeah,
lot
that
of
was
fun.
killer, man. Killer. I mean, and you guys were great. Did you, when you were in Cooper, this just occurred to me, when you were in Cooper, did you play with Kenny Mary?
No.
You didn't play with Ken. Okay. I was just
No.
curious about that. He cool, super cool guy, man. Great drummer too. So I was just wondering whether you were in when he was in. But well, look, what brings us to now? Like, what makes now the right time? And really, it's kind of started a few months ago, but it probably started a year or two ago. The machinations of bringing Brother Kane back, and if I'm correct in this, you've got the OG lineup here. It's not the second Seeds lineup where you had a different bass player, right?
Not exactly. So
Okay.
let me answer both your questions. None of this is happening without my amazing manager, Kevin Lee. Kevin and I started working together 3 years ago when I put out my Power Trio album, Battle Lessons. We knew each other and we were friends, and I knew Kevin loved all the same music I did. Kevin's worn a lot of hats in this business over the 35 years that I've been a touring musician. So I just felt like it was the planets kind of coming together, Jeff, that Kevin and I would sit down and have a conversation. Just go, hey man, let's just do it. Let's just go. You manage me. I'm going to work harder than any artist you've ever worked with, ever. And he goes, well, I know that because I see you working all the time. So that work ethic attracted a quality manager for me, and he's just been a blessing. So I was touring that record with the trio, not doing a ton of dates, but enough to just be fulfilled by it, man, and keep writing.
Right.
And, and then in 2021, the phone rang and it was Ricky Medlock and Johnny Van Zant. And you know where that all led to. I mean, we can skip that because I've talked about.
Yeah,
that
you
so
talked
many
about it a
times.
million times. Let me just ask you one element of that though. You guys were friends. You knew Ricky prior, right? I mean, was it from the Blackfoot days, or what? Where was that from? Or just being around?
No, I actually met Ricky in '93. Some of the first support dates we got on that debut Brother Kane record. We did 2 shows with Blackfoot in Texas that year, that summer. And Got No Shame had just started getting airplay. And man, Ricky just took a shine to me. He loved the band. He loved what I was doing. Let's be real, man. I was kind of a junior version of him. Frontman, lead guitar player, songwriter. There's not a ton of guys that do that. A lot of frontmen play guitar, but they're not also the lead guitar player.
Exactly.
So we kept in touch over the years. A few months later, Brother Kane opened for Skynyrd. Now, Ricky wasn't in Skynyrd then. So that's how I met Johnny and Gary, and I got to know a lot of the people in that camp. And then, of course, when Ricky joined Skynyrd, it was a big thing. I was so happy for him. And so we just stayed in touch, man, all these years. And, Gary, before Gary passed this past March, I mean, he'd had 2 major heart attacks.
Oh, wow.
Over the last 15 years. So Gary's health had been in question for some time, but he just wanted to keep playing, man. And
that's all he knew, right? That's what he knew.
That's just what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And so they called in 2021. He couldn't make these dates. And of course, this is when everybody's, clamoring to try to get out of COVID.
Get out. Yep.
All the dates had been canceled for all bands, and it was just a mess. So it was an honor and a thrill for me to get to fill in for one of my major guitar influences. And I knew Gary already, but I just love that guy. So
did you ever play on stage with Gary, or were you always the fill-in guy?
We played together a couple times. As a matter of fact, the very last show he ever did was when Skynyrd played the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville last November.
Okay.
So I played the first half of the set. He came up and played the second half, and then he asked me to stay on stage. and I kind of played some acoustic guitar on top of what they were doing. And so, man, but go back to 2021. So Gary would come out from time to time and play when he felt like it, when he had enough energy or felt healthy. So what Skynyrd's management had a great idea, and that was to have my band, Damon Johnson and the Get Ready, as the opening act. So I was on the property no matter what. I was on the premises. And it was during that time period that I met a lot of fans at the merch table. When I would play my set, Tesla would start setting up. I would run up to the merch booth and try to sling a few CDs and T-shirts of my band. And Jeff, when I tell you that 70% of the people that would walk up, all they wanted to ask about was Brother Kane.
Yeah.
You know, they would always say, man, thank you so much for helping out Skynyrd. We love Skynyrd and we're grateful to you. I saw Brother Kane open. I saw Brother Kane open for Van Halen.
Yeah.
I love And Fools Shine On. Wish Pool was my favorite album of the 90s.
Dude,
you know,
that's my favorite album, man. Wish Pool. Man, your songwriting took another level jump. I wanted to throw that in there. Sorry.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
So that's a long-winded answer to, it's not an easy question to just go, oh, this is why we're doing Brother Kane. If it hadn't have been for talking to those fans, had it not been for Kevin, my manager, standing there with me, hearing all this,
right,
and then calling me the next week, and we went to lunch, and he just said, hey, what about Brother Kane? And that was when I said, well, I love it. I love the band. I love the songs. I've never thought about revisiting it because it's too much work. It's too much work to do it right, Jeff. You know, God bless all these bands from the 90s, from the 80s, even from the 70s. They're still out there
plugging away.
They'll show up and play any shithole on the planet. I'm not going to do that. I'm just not. That band and those songs mean too much to me to just let it just kind of
mail it in, right? To mail it in, right?
Well, it's not, none of those bands are mailing it in, but it's like, there's just not enough people. There's not enough people to come to the shows, bro.
Right.
Unless you got a proper agent, a proper infrastructure, good promotion, good marketing. You know, that stuff doesn't exist for rock bands anymore.
It's so different now, right? Yeah.
So if you don't have, if you don't have 500,000 followers on your Facebook page, man, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. Yeah. So Kevin, he was the fuel in that tank, and with his help and me working as hard as I've ever worked, yeah, man. So what I'm doing is we're putting Brother Kane dates inside the Skynyrd schedule. Lynyrd Skynyrd is the mothership for me now. I'm a full member of that band now. Last year we proved not just to the fans and the promoters, but we proved to ourselves that it's exactly like Gary Rossington said. Those songs are bigger than anybody.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Johnny Van Zant has done a masterful, undeniably hardworking, passionate job of fronting that band since 1987. So the fans came. They kept coming. They came this year. We just announced the 2024 dates. So
just saw that yesterday, right? Yep.
Yeah. So inside,
and you've got what, two? I think it's March and April, and then September or August, September. So you're doing outdoor sheds, most of those, I would imagine, except for the early dates. You're probably doing, the indoor arenas, right?
Yeah. So my point of all that was to say, in and around that schedule, I would love to do 30 Brother Kane dates every year. It would be fun. We're having fun right now. It's going to be fun in Lidditz on Saturday. We just did Atlanta and Huntsville last weekend. The band sounds amazing.
Well, that question there, if I could interrupt for a sec, how much? It's the original band now, right? Correct?
No,
Oh, it's not.
no.
Okay.
The only original member in this band is Glenn, who was the bass player on the very first record.
Okay.
Glenn was with me when I first put a band together called Child.
Yep.
He was with me when we were showcasing. This is when I was just a guitar player, and we went through 6 or 8 lead singers trying to find the right guy. And Glenn was the one that convinced me to do it myself. And then we wrote and recorded that first record, went on the road in 93, and the road kicked Glenn Maxey's ass. It just kicked his ass.
As it often does, yeah.
Yeah. It was too much for him. So he moved on the following year, and then we had a little bit of a lineup change right then. But, Jeff, it's just there's no possible way to get the original band together.
I was wondering that, and I thought I read somewhere that it was, but now I'm looking at it, and so it's only you and Glenn.
Right.
Okay. All right. That my bad there. I should have done better research on
that.
Oh,
it's okay, Jeff. Listen, man. It's totally
Scott
fine.
and Roman were involved, but I didn't realize. Then that was going to be my question: was how do you do that in this day and age where you're in your mid to late 50s, which we are? I'm a year and a half younger than you, so we grew up in the same year. And you're adulting a lot, right? You're kind of fortunate because you've got Skynyrd to be the mothership, and I'm sure that's a very comfortable situation all the way around. Brother Kane is more of a labor of love, I would imagine.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, man, the Brother Kane thing it's just so awesome, simply from the standpoint of, getting to play with Glenn again, and then bringing in 2 or 3 other guys that I've been making music with longer than the original band was ever together. So,
right.
In a sense, it's just me and my friends, just like the original band. It's what it is now. It's me and my friends. And as long as it can remain that, Jeff, I'd love to keep doing it. I don't want it to all of a sudden there's a new drummer on this tour and a new bass player on that tour. And, I want it to be these guys.
Yeah, it's tough. You see a lot of older bands, maybe from the 80s. You reference shitty bands. Now, I do like some 80s bands, man. I still love Rat, and some of the LA hair stuff is just it's in my blood because that's where I came from. But I really came from the 70s like you. So I wanted to touch on, but you see a lot of those bands where it's like one guy, and that's kind of it. But I mean, in reality, with Brother Kane, you are the guy. It wouldn't be the same without you. It's just that's the reality of it. You were always the primary songwriter for the most part. You're also you're the singer. You're the lead guy. Without it, it's not going to work. So I think all of us are very happy to see that. I wanted to touch on something on your Instagram back in August. You were wearing the classic Rush Hemispheres shirt. And I commented on that picture, and you got back to me, and I'm like, fuck yeah, that guy is ace, man. That guy's it, because I am a Rush fanatic, man. Those are my G's, right? I saw him 56 times from 1980 to
wow.
Hardcore. Got to meet Geddy and Alex in 2007, and other than the birth of my children, and of course speaking with you, sir, no greater day ever happened, right? You notice how I threw that in there. I got that in there right.
Listen, dude, let's be real. There's no need to have your wooden nose start growing, Dude, that is incredible that you saw Rush 56 times. I only saw them 4 times. But
what was your first show? I wanted to ask you that.
Man, I didn't get to see them until what is the album that had the duet with Amy Mann, Time Stand Still?
Yeah, the red one. Hold Your Fire.
Hold Your Fire.
Yeah.
Man, I think that's right. God, man,
that was Amy Mann. That was the Amy Mann song, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I saw them one tour before that. Maybe I did see, maybe it was Subdivisions.
That would have been 82. I saw him in 80. I saw him in 80 for Permanent Waves. And get this, man. Do you know Kim Mitchell? You know of Kim Mitchell?
I know who that is.
Kim Mitchell, Canadian guitar player, leader of Max Webster. Max Webster actually opened for them, man. And I remember the first time it was the first time I ever got high. And I was like, what the hell? It was just such a mind-blowing trip. I mean, it's weed. What the hell? I was 15 years old. But
Well,
I mean,
man, I love Rush.
what's your favorite album then?
Man, look, moving pictures just changed everybody's life. I'm not, I mean, I love 2112 very, very much. All the World's a Stage was my first exposure to them. But I love Hemispheres.
Hemispheres is my jam, man.
I was definitely, I was my age, as you mentioned. I was steeped in that era of the band. And, by the time the early 80s started happening, I started like writing songs and just kind of, I was starting to shift out of just being a fan and starting to look at it like, hey, man, I can do this. And so some of the bands that I was pretty obsessed with in my teens and early 20s, it's not like I moved away from them. I just wasn't paying as close attention because I was busy doing other stuff.
Of course. Yeah.
And
it's hard. I think as a musician too, sometimes you tend to, as a fan, it's one thing because you're always consuming. You want more of that. You want more of this. And then when the band doesn't do exactly what they did on that album, you're like, oh man, they're laming out, or they're getting more commercial, or they're doing whatever. But as a musician, you got to be careful what you take in because you don't want it to overly affect what your headspace is, right?
Well, that's a great point you're making right there, Jeff. And I can't explain why, but for whatever reason, I just cared about great songs.
Right.
I just cared about great songs. I never really got distracted with, Metallica's doing they're doing a ballad. Oh my God. Or Rush is using too many keyboards. None of that had any impact on me, man. I was always listening to the songs. What are the lyrics? What is the story? What are the arrangements? What have these guys, created in the studio? And as big a fan as I am of all the classic rock bands, anyone you want to mention, I love them all. But I also loved Bob Seger, Bruce Springsteen, Bob Dylan, Neil Young. I was listening to great writers, man, and those guys. And when Tom Petty hit, it just, I don't know, man. Look, plenty of guys that are fans of all those bands, but I'm as much Tom Petty as I am Lynyrd Skynyrd and Thin Lizzy and Aerosmith, as far as like whatever it is that makes me who I am as an artist and a writer. Tom's the fucking GOAT, bro. He's on the Mount Rushmore of greatest of all time. So,
dude, I remember hearing Breakdown, 1976 was that, or I'm trying to remember. Might have been, probably about 76. 77.
Yeah.
Dude, that, just that simple little line, that simple little guitar line. And you're just like, man, and the way the way Tom sang that song was so incredible. And, you and I think, Kevin, we're lucky. I think we're very lucky guys because we came up in an era of music that, in my opinion, it's not touchable. It just isn't touchable. Mm-hmm. The golden age of the late 60s through the 70s, the music was fucking special, dude. It's not touchable for me. You know what I mean?
I'm with you, buddy. We're very fortunate. And, Jeff, I just feel grateful, man, with everything that's happening right now. It's nice to get to talk to someone like yourself, same age, a lot of the same music that we grew up on. And you can imagine what it feels like for me to be, man, I got that big number 60 coming over the horizon.
Yeah, so do I. It's not far. It's a little further than you, but not much.
I've never been more productive, fulfilled, creative.
That's awesome.
I'm playing with the best musicians of my whole life. I would have just predicted this is when things start to slow down.
Yeah, right.
And they're just speeding up. They're picking up. And I'm just grateful, man. And, it's a pleasure to talk to you and talk about this tour, and got a couple new songs that I'm super
Well, I was just
proud
going
of,
to
man.
mention those. I know you got to get out of here, so give me like 5-6 minutes. We'll get you out of here. The new songs, "Blinded by the Sun," and "Is There Anyone in There?" Is that what it is? I'm sorry. Are you still in there?
It's okay. It's called "Are You In There Anymore?"
Are you in there anymore? Okay. And you know what I heard in that song? And please, this is a high compliment. I hear a lot of Phil Lynott in that song. It's a story, man. It's a story about something. It's not just, babe, I want to get laid, or I love you, or let's party all night, right? It's a story, and it even has, again, highest compliment here, it's even got a lot of Lizzy in it. I hear a lot of Lizzy in that song. Just the way the song structure is, the melody lines. And these are really cool tunes. Tell us real quick about how that all came together. Were they stragglers that were hanging around, or were they fresh songs right out of the gate?
Let me first of all say thank you, Jeff, for all those compliments. I do take all that as a compliment. These were brand new songs. I had a guy ask me like, well, so what did you do? Try to get in the same mindset you were in 30 years ago? And I'm like, are you fucking high?
I was going to say, how the fuck can you ever do that? Like, what's that even mean, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you were in your 20s. Imagine trying to be in your 20s now. It's just impossible. So,
yeah, these are brand new songs, man. And I do feel like there was some kind of magic involved, because you have to believe me when I say, well, I didn't sit down and go, well, I need to write something that's 140 beats per minute, like Got No Shame, or let me listen to Full Shine On 2 or 3 times and try and write something like that. There was none of that. Was none of that. Blinded by the Sun, I had a badass guitar riff that just kept me focused. And, this is the little room I write in right here when I'm talking to you. And I didn't leave this chair, man. It was so fun to just play that riff and start singing over it. And then Are You In There Anymore is indeed a story. It just morphed very quickly into, I just think it shamelessly shows those Phil Lynott, Tom Petty, Bruce Springsteen influences, man.
Yeah.
All of those guys tell great stories. Tom does it in a 3.5-minute pop song better than anyone of all time. So, and yes, there is that super cool little halftime harmony guitar solo.
Yep.
I was almost thinking a little more Dwayne Allman, Dickie Betts, but
it's definitely got the Allman, sure.
I'm totally fine with Scott Gorham and Brian Robertson. That's
for sure, man. What I'd love to do is have you back when you have time to do like a full bore, because I'm very difficult to get in the 30-minute thing. I like to tangentially get into all kind of cool shit that maybe a lot of other people don't ask. So we'll talk about that. Michelle has my number.
Listen, Jeff, I would love that, buddy. And for real, man, I appreciate you having me on today. And, sorry, I've got to cut it short because I just got so much happening. I got another interview, and
what time's your interview at?
We're
now?
dragging. It's now.
Oh shit. Well, I wanted to ask you real quick on, battle lines. Battle lessons. Sorry,
battle lessons.
I didn't know anything about you doing the get ready, the solo thing. I'm ashamed of that, but I didn't know. But I got to tell you, dude, holy fucking shit, Shadow Country. Wow, wow,
Jeff.
Whoa. I listened to that song like 15 fucking times yesterday. I'm like, how did this guy do this? Because I love Wishpool. Every song on Wishpool is in my brain.
Thank you.
Stuff like Look for Something More, and just, so many beautiful songs on that album. But dude, this song kicked my ass. Like
Jeff, there is not one other song you could have mentioned to endear yourself more to me than Shadow Country.
It's a ripper, man. It's a ripper.
I'll leave you with a short story about that if you're cool.
Yeah.
So I was working with my bro rock god record producer Nick Raskulinix, and
Rush.
Rush. We were tracking all those songs, and then the pandemic shut us down. We had to stop. And he's like, "Hey man, don't stop writing. There's always room for another good song." Well, in my head, I'm like, this record's done. I got everything I need. This record's gonna be badass. And out of sheer boredom, man, I came down to this desk one day and just started messing around with this riff and this email I got from my buddy Jim Trogland, who I've written with for a long time. Just a bunch of random lines. And man, when I stumbled on that, that line about I've been driving this hammer on this rock.
So good.
Since the dawn of time. I was like, dude, that is my life.
Yes.
That is me. Some people go, oh man, you just never got the breaks. What are you talking about? I've gotten tons of breaks.
Yeah.
I've gotten all the breaks. I don't own 2 or 3 homes, and I don't drive a Escalade or anything like that.
Right.
But I have worked my ass off, Jeff. And I read that, oh shit, I got it right over here, man. I'm spacing out. Yeah, Peter Matheson, the great Peter Matheson, who just passed away this year, man. He wrote that insane book, Shadow Country. Insane.
Don't know it.
It's like it's kind of like a compilation of 3 books. It's sort of a trilogy. I'll spare you.
I'll look it up.
One of the greatest books I've ever read in my life. And the song didn't have a chorus or anything like that. And I'm like, what am I going to call this? And I looked over at my couch, and there was Shadow Country. I was
no
like,
way.
There it is.
That's it. Dude, I'm telling you, that might be one of the. Right now, it's my favorite song you've written. I'm just saying that straight up.
Bro.
And what I love about it is those little arpeggiated Leslie Roto vibey notes that you're throwing in there. They just accent everything so well. You're like, fuck yeah, like that's the ticket right there. So
Jeff,
I know you gotta go. I wanted to
thank you for that, buddy. And last thing, see, that's what all of this is about, is to just keep making music. I love that you, as someone that is familiar with 30-year-old Brother Kane, you just discovered a song that I recorded 2 years ago that's as badass as anything I ever did in Brother
Absolutely,
Kane.
Dude. Absolutely, no doubt.
So it's a thrill for me to go out and tour with Brother Kane. And maybe someone does go on Spotify and go, yeah, let me see what else this guy has been up to in the last, 20 years since the band's been broken up. And then they'll discover Battle Lessons, and they'll hear Shadow Country and Talk Yourself Into Anything. There's a lot of good songs in there.
Well, here's the deal. I got all your shit linked in this description. I put a lot of thought into that thing, and I've got DamonJohnson.com. I've got BrotherKane.com. I've got Facebooks. I've got the album we just talked about, Battle Lessons. I've got that link. And that's not Shadow Country, to me, is the standout track on that, but there's a bunch of other really killer tracks too. So go check that out, guys. That's on Bandcamp. Is there any physicals of that stuff or no? Just
man. DamonJohnson.com.
Okay.
DamonJohnson.com. I got CDs. I got it on vinyl, Jeff.
Okay. All right. I'll be picking something up.
Yeah,
You're going to have that at the show? Any of that?
I am.
Okay.
I'm going to have it at the show.
Dude, we're going to meet hopefully on Saturday night. Michelle has my number. So if you want to get in touch with me, if you're in town, you won't have time, but if you got shit going on, you want a good place to eat before you go to the, do the show, hit me up. I'll hook you up. So me and Dave and Mike are going to be in. We're stoked to see you. I appreciate you doing this. I definitely want to have you back because I want to talk these things, man. I want to talk some of this shit right here. All right. You got to come back. We got to talk. I'm actually buying a Dean Cadillac USA this week.
Well, congratulations, man. That's a cool guitar. Didn't Elliot Easton play a
Elliot
Dean
Easton
Cadillac?
was the guy. I love those guitars. Waddy Wachtel, too. Waddy Wachtel played one of them. And I came into some money I'm disabled through a neurological problem that I have. And the outcome's not going to be great, sadly. But I came into some money that is happening with that, and I'm buying a K24 CE. Do you know what that is?
No.
Taylor?
What is that?
Taylor Koa.
Oh, wow.
I'm going all out. I'm like, fuck it, man.
Good.
I'm getting the best because
good for
somebody
you, buddy.
in the family will use it, right?
Good for you, buddy. That's awesome.
All right, brother. I appreciate you so much. Thanks so much for being here, and apologize to Michelle for me keeping a little bit long, but I talked a lot to save your voice, so.
I appreciate it, buddy.
All
I'll
right,
see you, Jeff.
Let's touch base again, brother. I'll see you Saturday night.
Thank you. See it.
Later. All right, guys. Damon Johnson. Seriously, you got to go check him out, man. Killer singer. You know, I hate to like pigeonhole people. Tesla, Jeff Keith, there's a bit of that in his voice. There's a little bit of a Phil Lynott vibe to his voice too. I did not really focus on the chat. I apologize. I'll take a quick look at it here. What's up, AZ Mick? Yeah, Flying V, right. Hey, Pat. Sorry, dude. I had to really knuckle down because I was really in a tight time window there. Phil, what's up? Carl Ray Hopper. Okay, cool. Rick, yeah, man, fucking for sure. Glenn, what's up? Sorry, guys. I was put to the screws by the publicist that we had to keep this in 30 minutes. And of course, Jeff never does 30 minutes, man. But Damon was a little bit late, so that kind of tempered it. What a fucking awesome dude. You got to go check out Damon Johnson and the Get Ready Battle Country, man. Shadow Country. I said Battle Lessons is the album. Great album. But Shadow Country kicks fucking ass, man. I'm almost tempted to play that song. I wonder if he'd mind. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do it. For those of you watching, I'm going to play this song, all right? Because it is so fucking good, man. You got to hear this song. I hope he's not going to be pissed off at me, but I'll let you got to hear this song, people. It's so good. Oh my God. Here it is. Ready? Damon Johnson. There's Battle Lessons. All right, let me share this real quick. Stick around for this. It's well worth it. Stay here for a minute, all right? Stay here for this because it is totally worth it, man. This song will blow your doors off. I'm telling you the truth here, man. All right. Shadow Country. 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Let me know if you can hear this.
Corners of my mind until we're ready to fight. I'm staying out of the light. I've been driving a hammer on this rock since the dawn of time. Now I think I might be ready to fight. You'll be never out as long as you got to go. It looks the same to you, but the damn it's all brand new. Don't break through. You'll be taking fast as the minute you got on the line. But you had peace of mind, hiding in plain sight. You were minding your business, so eager to just take flight. And now the time is right. You're walking into the light, yeah. You've been living out from this world that you got to go. It looks the same to you, but to them it's all brand new. I'll take a swing with my everything, my faith in you. driving a hammer on this rock since the dawn of time. Now step aside, 'cause we're ready to fight, yeah.
Man, so good.
But there's more that you got to do. It likes to say to you, but today it's all brand new. I'll take a swing and not everything from my faith in you. I'll take a swing and not everything from my faith in you. Well, break through. Well, break through. Well, break through.
Yeah, I love that riff. I'm going to play one more track just because. I'm going to play Battle Lessons. This song rules too. Yeah, this ain't metal. Not death metal, surely. Fucking killer hard rock, man.
So careless and the way you talk. Decide how you break a boy in two. Someday you'll suffer for your sins, but right now I'm suffering from you. When we were young, nothing to lose. We were friends of fun. Take a look at your screen.
Dude, that's poppy. I mean, that's pop right there, but it's awesome.
Feel like you were the one. No battle that sun's lost on me. Tomorrow can't come fast enough. We're through.
Very Lizzy.
Now it feels so good to shed your skin. Your words, they started from the start.
Go buy this fucking album. $28.
I spent defending you. You were
I don't know what the
helping
CDs
to
cost.
break my heart. When we were young, nothing to lose. We were friends of fun. Take a look at you screaming like God. What have I done? How could I ever feel like you were the one? No battle lessons lost on me. Tomorrow can't come fast enough. I'll never get along.
Sure, Rick.
Coming after you.
This is Nick Raskulinecz, by the way. If you know anything about music, you'll know who that guy is. Reminds me of a riff. Damn it. I'm not gonna get it. All right, I don't want to play the whole thing, but yeah, there you go, man. You know, that last song, a little bit of a pop edge to it, but a killer one, a little bit of an 80s vibe to it. Shadow Country, man, kicking ass on that song. The whole album is really, really, really good, man. It's like I didn't even know about it. So, until a few days ago. So, yeah, check that out. Real quick, show notes. The only thing planned at present. Shit, what do I have planned? So I'm leaving here right now, and I'm going someplace that I've been threatening to go to for a while. That I have to get some things looked at, and I'm not sure how that's going to affect things going forward. However, I can announce that Thursday night, assuming I'm not unable to make it. Thursday night, it's going to be a late one, though, unfortunately. 11 p.m. Thursday night. I have Don Anderson and John Halm from Agalot coming in. You heard that right. John Halm and Don Anderson from Agalot. The artwork's about to go up this afternoon. 11 p.m. They're on the West Coast, so they need it after 8 p.m. So we're going to start late. Of course, you can catch it on the replay. Don Anderson, John Halm, we're going to talk about the reunion of Agalot, the Prophecy Fest thing that they played back in September. They're headlining, I believe, Decibel Fest in Denver coming up in December. Yeah, December, I believe. They played some hometown gigs in Portland, like a warm-up gig, and then they did another big one, a fairly big one out in Portland, I believe, maybe two, actually. So we're going to talk about all those things. We're going to talk about what led to it, why now, what's the plans, where do they see this going. So Agalot, John Halm, Don Anderson, Thursday night at 11 p.m. I have a lot of other stuff I'm working on, but the health thing is really starting to kick my ass. So we'll see how that pans out. I tried to blast a lot of stuff out the last couple months just so there's a backlog of good content out there for everybody to check out. And hey, I'd like to get above 900. So help me out there. I think I've got 24. Share this thing out and like and subscribe and blah, blah, blah. Go check out Damon Johnson. I'm going to hopefully check him out Saturday night live at Mickey's Black Box in Lidditz, PA. Ticket link in the description. And again, Bandcamp, DamonJohnson.com, BrotherKane.com, Facebooks, all that stuff down below. So go do that, guys. Appreciate you. Later.